Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Sabretooth issue number 2, cover dated September 1993. So this is part 2 of a 4-part miniseries, Sabretooth's first miniseries at Marvel. And we've got the cover caption here, Sabretooth Death Hunt on a mission of death. So just in case we didn't get the point that this is all death oriented. And also a past life is found. And how, of course, does that connect to Mystique here? So a painted cover by Mark Texeira. I think it's pretty fantastic. Really like the design here where we've got Sabretooth with those elongated claws reaching out towards Mystique. And I like the design element, as I was saying, where we've got the kind of reddish hair of his Sabretooth's mane here that is in counterpointed or paralleled by, of course, Mystique's red hair there too. I think it's very, very effective. A kind of a figure of 8 type design is what I'm seeing here. I think it works really well. So let's open this one up to the splash page. That's a pretty excellent splash page too. We've got the title of the story there, A Kiss Before Dying. And we have the creative credits down here beneath. The sound effect, don't even know if that sound effect is necessary there, as Sabretooth kicks in the front door of his own home. Creative team here, Larry Hama, writer, Mark Texeira, artist, Marie Javins on colour, Michael Baer gets an art assist credit, so I reckon that's for maybe doing background inks. Bob Harris, editor, let's forget about him actually. Richard Starkings on the letters, and these aren't digital letters, this is the old style of lettering on the artboard. So Sabretooth arrives home. You'll find the review of issue number 1 already in the back catalogue of the channel, and he says here, I'm home, Birdie, now you're going to get yours, because he's after his PA who sold him out in the previous issue, and he now has a bomb that has been sewn into him unless he fulfills the mission he's been given by this mysterious figure who has required him to kill Mystique. So let's see how the rest of this goes. 22 pages of story and art in this particular issue. Really like the angle there that Texeira's chosen as Sabretooth goes up the stairs. Like the rendering of the back muscles there, it's really well done. And Sabretooth exclaims, now I know what kind of bird you are, a stool pigeon. You ratted me out, Birdie, sold me out to some yahoo calls himself the Tribune. Did he pay you in Roman coins, 30 pieces of silver? So we're going to see this Tribune character again further on in the story. So he goes to her room in his house, in his mansion house in Seattle, and he sees that she's flown the coop, as he says. So she's getting into one of his sports cars there. And then he jumps down, like that's 2 stories down, right in front of the car. Hold on, girl. He yells, I just needs to talk to you. I wouldn't believe him about that. Look at the hulking size of the way that Texeira is drawing him. These massive shoulder muscles. He looks completely vicious. Really, really well done. So she holds the car there. He pulls the door off the side of the car, but she manages to drive out onto the street and away. So Creed there, unhappy. Oh, that slimy telepath. She slashed my tires. As he looks in his garage, all his sports cars have the tires slashed. But he's got a backup plan. Good thing I never told the little rat about what I got stashed behind the wall. So she hears a noise coming up behind her. Vroom, like that. What is it? Let's turn the page and see what Sabretooth has stashed behind that wall. And it is a motorbike. So that's pretty cool to see Sabretooth on a bike. And of course Texeira would have had plenty of practice drawing motorbikes when he on his run on Ghost Rider. So what's that? He says, ain't you seen a Harley on nitrous before, girl? This here Milwaukee hog gonna eat that Detroit iron for lunch. So he's chasing after. I like the speed lines here. One of this other civilian driver says, hey, watch where you're going to, Birdie. And Sabretooth, like, he's got this strange ambivalence towards his PA telepath, zip your lip geek. He yells, nobody talks to Birdie that way except me. So he's there, he's saying he's going to catch her, that she's going to pay for betraying him. And let's see how all this pans out. I like the design here, the horizontal panels. I think that's good. Layout decision for a vehicle chase. Let's get past these advertisements. And yeah, so she slams into, or she breaks through a barrier there. He's gotten ahead of her somehow. And he says, painted yourself right into a corner, Birdie. Oh, right. Okay, yes. So she turns around. So now he's facing her and she plays a game of chicken with him. And runs over him and the bike. Scatter that bike 100 feet. Where's his body, though, she wonders. And then she sees that he's grabbed on to the car itself. And he's there laughing. You think running me over is going to stop my clock? Not hardly. So she's got a gun there. And she threatens to shoot him. Like, this is really pacey stuff. Like, we're just zipping along here. And that's credit to Larry Hama that he's allowing Texeira to tell the story. And we're not getting slowed down with narrative captions or anything like that. It's just action, action, action. Don't you know it's dangerous to plink and drive, he says as he knocks the handgun out of her hand and onto the road. And then they crash off the side of the overhead road. And so they're falling into traffic there. And then he tells her, go ahead, Birdie, do it now. So this is the telepathic glow she can give him. And he there's a kind of a weird flashback going on where he's throttling her. And she says to him, this just warps our perception of time. When we come out of this, we're still going to be. But then he tells her to be quiet. And there's a flashback here to events of the previous issue. And she realizes this must be Sabretooth's memory of what happened after he got taken away. So here we have the Tribune character who's in this strange kind of Transformer outfit. Who do you want aced? He asks the guy. Mystique. You'll have 2 days, 48 hours from the time you're healed and accept the mission. So Sabretooth agrees and says, start the clock, Junior. One thing you should know, after I aced abroad, I'm coming after you. So we don't have a good look at this guy. He's completely in silhouette there. But we do get an interesting kind of close-up there on Sabretooth's face. And what I find intriguing about this, and you can tell me what you think, is have a look at that face there and tell me, what actor does that look like? And does it not look like Liv Schreiber, who would play Sabretooth in the 2009 film X-Men Origins Wolverine? It looks the spitting image of him, but this comic is from 1993. So it has me thinking that maybe somebody who was looking at this comic, again, that looks like him, spitting image of Sabretooth, whoever was looking at this comic maybe got the idea to cast him as Sabretooth, and I think he was a very good casting choice as Sabretooth. So here's this Tribune character in his Transformers robot suit, and he's pressing away at these various buttons, and his PA comes up on screen, and he says to her, cancel my appointments for the rest of the day, I'm having too much fun. Dr. Mabuse, you may pull the stitches out of Sabretooth there. So now we're back in the present. The car slams onto the road, so they don't die. And Sabretooth, the effect of these telepathic interventions by Birdie calm him down. They allow him to move past his psychopathic rages, murderous rages. So he says there, when they hit the ground, better, I feel better already. Don't know what I'd do without you, Birdie. I might just feel bad for a whole 2 or 3 minutes if I was to really rip your head off one of these days. So back to the status quo between those two. And then elsewhere, this is the Tribune character again. See the way his whole head there is in silhouette. So who on earth is he? So he has a bit of dialogue here with his secretary. He caught her already. Did our people have time to finish their job back at his mansion in Seattle? He means Birdie there. And she says to him, yes, sir, it's all been taken care of. Here are the latest surveillance reports on Mystique and the finalized detailed background inquiry. She's no printemps poulet, is she? That's spring chicken in French. These filthy mutants, they're either teeny boppers, old codgers, or from the future, hardly a boomer in the crowd. And he replies, you made sure that none of these inquiries can be traced back to me, didn't you, Ellie? And she replies, security's absolute, sir. All loose threads have been severed. So the implication of what she says there, these filthy mutants, they're either teeny boppers, old codgers, or from the future, hardly a boomer in the crowd. Is that an implication that he is a boomer? And what is his connection to Sabretooth, if any, this mystery man? And then a clue is given Sabretooth where to go for Mystique, and it's the graffiti on the wall there. Some soon-to-be dead geek has sprayed up my house, he says, as they screech to a halt at the side of the perimeter wall of the house. Mighty weird handle for a graffiti artist, says Birdie. That ain't no street name, Birdie, replies Sabretooth. That's a place. That's where the Vic is. He means victim, prospective victim. You're really going after Mystique, she asks. Mr. Creed, isn't she now one of the X-Men? And he replies, and this is funny stuff from Hama, I can't keep track of that pack of goody two-shoes. That's your job, and it's your job to book the two of us tickets to Froggyland. So this is a great upshot there by Texeira. Really reminds me of the kind of thing that Neil Adams would pull. And of course, Texeira had a period of time in Neil Adams' studios when he was apprenticing as a comics artist. So he's picked that up from Adams, but I really like it. She asks him, does that mean you're not going to kill me? And he takes out this ninja that was hanging around, at least not for the time being, Birdie, he says, almost as like an afterthought. Just look how pumped his biceps are there. Really great stuff. And then the scene switches to Paris. So we've got a nice establishing shot there. Of course, the iconic landmark of the Eiffel Tower will always let you know that any establishing shot is of Paris, like the use of a screen tone there. And then we have Mystique. So she is in Paris and she's on the phone. So shall we meet for cocktails before our big night on the town? She asks. Someplace with a view. Le Café de la Tour. So the cafe at the top of the Eiffel Tower. In an hour, fine, she says. À tout à l'heure. So see you soon. And then, this is really intriguing here, I should change into something more appropriate. So she shapeshifts. And doesn't that look, and you tell me what you think, like Rachel from Blade Runner? I think that's what Texeira is going for. And then we get a profile view and she thinks to herself, to think that I used to fret over not being myself and losing my identity. I'm a shapeshifter and that's all there is to it. That blue weirdo isn't the real me. I'm whatever I want to be at the time. And right now I want to be a bad girl. So we get Texeira giving us a shot of Mystique in lingerie there. And yeah, this is interesting characterization of Mystique from Larry Hama. He's thinking about how to write her in post the way that she was written in issues 289 and 290 of Uncanny X-Men, the last ones by Will Sportaccio, where she had an apparent mental breakdown. And he's playing around with that here, that her whole shape-shifting mutant power and the longevity of her life have led to, a kind of a form of identity crisis veering towards maybe even schizophrenia. So here we get a shot of Sabretooth running along a rooftop there. He's in Paris and Birdie's down there in the car. Really like this page. It's bold stuff just to have two panels. Really nice work here. Nice inking as well by Texeira. You can see the brushwork there on the steering wheel. And Birdie's saying to him via their communication system, keep track of him, he says. This will be hard enough in a city where driving isn't considered a contact sport. And he couldn't just put a raincoat over the costume and go up the stairs like a normal assassin. He's got to go skipping over the rooftops in his fur-trimmed union suit. Well, maybe she doesn't have the communication systems on when she says that, but she does when she says this. Mr. Creed, this is the boulevard. This is where she's staying. Top floor, rear, room with balcony. So we see it there. We see her silhouette and the shadow cast over the balcony. That's really well done. And he exclaims, "Ha, a full moon, a warm night in Paris, and somebody to kill. What more could I ask for? Not much at all." So his homicidal rage is amplified once again, and he smashes right in through those glass doors to the balcony and surprises Mystique there in front of the mirror and grabs her by the neck. "You look just like your picture," he says, "but a sneaky little shapeshifter could just change yourself like that." So this is their first encounter, at least in publication chronology, but there's an implication of a past meeting where he sniffs her and says, "Familiar scent though. Now where have I..." And let's, by the way, what I really like is I like that shot of him hunkered on top of the roof with the spotting of blacks and the uplighting on him. That's really well done. So let's turn the page, see what happens. She throws her drink in his face. And I like the use of the splattering of white media there, maybe whiteout on the ink to give that effect. And this is a really kind of disgusting, horrifying panel where he's licking the wine off his face. And he says, "It's just the thing to get the old blood going." And she says to him, "Also quite tasty on crepe Suzette, especially served up nice and hot." And it was all a ploy by her, a tactic. So she sets him on fire. "Hate to run right after the toast, but I have a pressing engagement." Interesting choice there by Texeira to do a reverse silhouette on Mystique as she runs from the hotel room while he's burning there. Of course, he's got a healing factor, and he runs after. "I'm going to tear her into little pieces." So Birdie points to him. "She went down into the metro." He asks her, "Why didn't you run her down? How long am I going to last after you do her?" So he takes the point, and then she runs down to the metro station. And here again is Larry Hama playing around with her mental instability. Have to blend in with the crowd. Have to choose a look I can carry off flawlessly. No, I don't want to feel... I just don't feel wanton right now, nor do I feel particularly matronly. So she's going through all these different versions. I feel a need to be sequestered. I know. So what's she chosen? So Sabretooth is dropping off the platform onto the tracks, running after and leaping onto the back of the train. And he's there, "I'll still hunt you down like a dog." So she has shapeshifted into the form of a nun. So she's pushing through the carriage. Somebody here in French says, "Que c'est ennuyé," which means how boring, literally, but it kind of means how annoying. Here's Sabretooth coming on top of the train carriage, sniffing after her. "You can change yourself into a gumball machine and I'll still sniff you out," he says. "I know your perfume and I know your scent. Your own scent. Whatever it is that oozes out of your pores, I knows it from another time, maybe a long time ago." And that's interesting from Hama, seeding this prior connection, meeting between Sabretooth and Mystique. "Don't make no difference, no more, no how, since your time has come to a screeching stop right here and now." So he rips his way into the carriage. And she has heard him and she says, "You remember, don't you? Do you remember this?" So what happens there? Oh yeah, she shapeshifts into a vision of his mother. No, it can't be. He's shocked. "Ma," he screams. And then he flashes back to this pivotal moment in his childhood. And we saw his parents in the previous issue, where his father is a real sadistic beast. Well, we're not 100% sure that it is that they are his biological parents, but anyway, the father here has him chained up to a log. We're going to put more chains on him. We're going to keep him penned up in the cellar forever. We wouldn't do this to a dog. If he was a dog and done what he did, I'd put him down on the spot, he yells. And the mother gets in the way. He ain't no dog, he's our... What was she going to say? Stepson? Son? Don't say it, woman, says the man, and keep back from him. Remember what he did to you when I tried to yank out his teeth and claws. So he swings the axe down, and Sabretooth in the present yells. But what did he do? Did he bring it down on his head, which is what it looks like? And Sabretooth here in the present insists, you ain't my ma. Of course not, she says as she runs up the steps. She's dead, and whose fault was it? So the implication is that Sabretooth killed her. How did you know? He asks. I'm going to wring it out of you before I twist your morphing head off. And so he sees where she's gotten out, the Eiffel Tower. Want to see the sights before you die, do you? And she calls back to him, oh, have I upset you? Have I dredged up unbearable memories? Did I make you feel bad? Well, good. That's what I was trying to do. So she gets into the lift. It's a great anchor image of Sabretooth there. And again, you can see this hulking anatomy, these huge broad shoulders and this wasp waist that Texeira has given him. And of course, the exaggerated claws as well. It's really well done. This should have been on a page turn, but however. So we knew that Mystique was meeting someone in the cafe at the top of the Eiffel Tower. This is really cool. Sabretooth climbs the Eiffel Tower on the outside. Really, really well done. He says here, I don't need no sissy elevator. I don't even need the stairs. You're trapped, woman. I got you cornered now. I'm going to take my time and gnaw the whole story out of you one shriek at a time. And now he's asking, what he wants to know is, how did you know about my ma? Was it Birdie? Did she? And Mystique replies, you told me yourself. You whispered your darkest, bloodiest secrets to me in Berlin before you went into that secret program and had all the blocks put in. So that gets him by surprise, and that's a reference to things we saw in Adjectiveless X-Men issues 5 to 7, Jim Lee's, and then that Larry Hama was playing around with in the Wolverine solo title. So this is all new information coming all the time about Sabretooth's mysterious past, but Mystique has done enough in terms of hinting at his past. I'll close that mouth of yours before you start catching flies. You can discuss the whole thing with my dinner date. He was in the same program with you. I ain't much for jawing, darling, says the figure in shadow in the Cafe de la Tour. And it's Logan, of course, in a tuxedo. I'm going to let the adamantium do the talking. So he's got his claws popped there. It's a really excellent full-page image to conclude the story on. And he even brought a bunch of flowers for Mystique. Isn't that nice? So you might be wondering, well, what is Logan doing dating Mystique? Well, again, this is something that Larry Hama was playing around with in issues 51 to 53 of the solo title, where they had something of a fling. And this seems to be the sequel to the fling. But of course, what we've got teed up here in issue 3 is the ever classic, ever iconic Wolverine versus Sabretooth fight. Yet another version of it coming up in the next issue. Like the use of screen tone there as well. Really, really great art job on this. And Larry Hama doing a excellent job on scripting this. We've got no narrative captions to slow the story down. It's pacey, it's action-packed, it's really fun. It's a fun comic, and it's very, very early to mid-90s in the aesthetic as well. But great stuff. And at the end, just a little one-page illustration by the art assistant, Michael Bear, of Sabretooth there. Not too bad at all. This would be better if it was coloured blood red, I think. And that's it. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Sabretooth issue number 2 of 4. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.